Bears. It's not about time to panic. It's about time to realize what you are. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, I don't think it works. The coach is a timing coach who loves structure, and Caleb likes to ad-lib. In fact, the two opening drives, when Caleb does play within structure, so far this season, the two Bear opening drives, Caleb has 131 passer rating. Every other drive after that, his passer rating is 76. Caleb runs to escape. Like Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar, they run but keep their head up looking downfield. Caleb's off to the races. So we know that Ben Johnson's play design works because the first two opening drives, they're 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. But the further this quarterback gets away from the play script, the worse he is. He's like a studio musician having to go live, or a stand-up comedian who's totally reliant on joke writers. His style in this league is not a timing style. And this coach craves it. This coach craves structure. So is Kyle Shanahan. Caleb wouldn't work with Kyle Shanahan. Maybe there's a coach it works with. I don't think it's Ben Johnson. There are 2 or 3 components to quarterbacking in this league. You don't have to be big. You don't have to be super mobile. Jared Goff isn't. But there are 2 or 3 things you have to do in this league. You have to be consistently accurate. You just have to be. Again, Jared Goff can't run. He's consistently accurate. Caleb's not. And you have to be an anticipation thrower. You have to see stuff before it's wide open, and he doesn't. It also helps if you have composure. I don't think he does. He's like the news anchor and the teleprompter goes down. Oops. You know, I don't think this marriage is going to work.
Yeah, this is what's so interesting, because there's a handful of things that I want to talk about here. Because everyone is definitely now jumping and saying this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. And I said, especially going into this game, that losing this game, the clock is absolutely ticking on Caleb and with Ben Johnson. And now to lose 52-21, Ben Johnson is just not going to linger on this for too long. And I'm telling Chicago Bears fans, Ben Johnson came to make the Chicago Bears great, not Caleb Williams great. Making Caleb Williams great is secondary to making the Chicago Bears great. His job description is to make the Chicago Bears great. And so losing this game in this fashion, and especially with his old quarterback, Jared Goff, that matters. It's going to take all the energy in the world for him to not want to bench Caleb immediately. So this is for real at this point. And what Colin talked about, how the first 2 drives versus the rest of the game, I talked about that during preseason. When we saw some of those scripted preseason drives, I was like, I expect those drives to be great. It's everything else that I need to see. And now everything else that I'm seeing has not been great. It hasn't been as bad as everyone wants to try to make you feel. It's not all doom and gloom, but it's not great. And there's that one key moment too, where the broadcaster is talking about you need to be a distributor. You need to be a point guard, not a shooting guard. And then what does Caleb do? Like literally as he's finishing that thought, he throws a wild interception. And the commentator multiple times throughout the broadcast was just like he didn't know what to say. It was just like, that's just not a throw you can make. And when you see a commentator kind of stumble over those moments, it's because it's such an elementary and such a bad decision or such a bad throw that you're just like, oh God, what do I even say in this moment? It happened with Collinsworth yesterday with the Minnesota Vikings. He was just like, that's just not good football by J.J. McCarthy. Like you could tell, because nobody wants to speak badly about these players. And again, I'm not telling you that Caleb has been this awful quarterback. I'm just reaching the conclusion that it doesn't necessarily fit with Ben Johnson, which I had my concerns during the offseason. When I started to realize exactly the type of coach that Ben Johnson is and how it may not work with Caleb Williams. But then there's other little stuff where I'm just like, well, Ben Johnson, like, the 4th and 1 call, don't know why you're doing that. Why you're going for it on 4th and 1, like, at that moment, like, I mean, defense was playing well in the beginning. Like, there's other little things. I mean, but Caleb doesn't make it any easier. And then I took the stats before. This was just going into the 4th quarter because I knew there was a potential that the game was going to look a little differently, or maybe he was going to juice up his stats, but he was unable to. But he was 17 for 27, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 93 passer rating, 7.1 yards per attempt, 4 sacks, 5 carries for 27 yards rushing, and you were down 45 to 14. And they were able to run the ball too. 19 carries for 98 yards rushing, 5.2 yards per carry. I mean, listen, I know the Lions offense was obviously on one, but it's so perfect that the Bears played the Lions in this way, because you could see Jared Goff and you could see some of the special of Caleb Williams, some of his escapability, how he was using his legs, all of that. And that's what we always talk about, these quarterbacks being so talented with their mobility and their ability to throw in the run and this and that and escape the pressure. That's what makes a special quarterback. That's what makes a great quarterback. Well, we saw Jared Goff being unable to do any of that stuff. When it comes to athleticism and athletic talent, Jared Goff and Caleb Williams aren't even close. It's not even close. I'm confident that I could do a ladder drill better than Jared Goff, okay? But yeah, Jared Goff can light up the scoreboard and put up 52. He can absolutely have a field day, okay? He can go 23 for 28, 334 yards, 11.9 yards per attempt, 5 touchdowns, and a 156 rating. Because he knows how to throw accurately. He knows how to play within time and in rhythm. He's an elite passer of the ball. He's not an elite quarterback, but he's an elite passer of the ball. And then there you go. He can hit 8 different receivers. He controlled the line of scrimmage. Like, you don't need to be able to do some of the stuff that Caleb Williams can do. So many of the silver linings of Caleb's games, we're always like, he keeps showing flashes. And those flashes are typically him scrambling around and throwing the ball on the run or using his legs to pick up a down. And that's all great. We saw that with Justin Fields the other day, or just yesterday. Justin Fields played awful, but he had a couple moments where he was able to run the ball for 20, 30 yards. And it's like, great. That doesn't matter anymore. That's a nice thing to have. It is not a necessary thing to have. And so Caleb has just been inaccurate, and he hasn't been making good decisions. Now, I told you guys that I expected the beginning of the season to not be perfect for Caleb and this offense, because I said we're punting year one. We're punting year one because it was such a mess. And it's all about, are you getting better throughout these weeks? But I just sense that Ben Johnson is not going to have the patience to really develop a Caleb Williams. I'm not getting that sense, and the team doesn't. Look at that guy's face. He's not happy either. You can see throughout the entire broadcast, the team doesn't feel good about this. The team is frustrated. I'm not under the impression. I don't mind under the impression that they're all rooting for Caleb at this point. And Ben Johnson, I'm telling you, this is just the worst way you can win for Ben Johnson right now. Going up against his old team like this and just getting just crushed. So it's going to be interesting. Things are going to continue to get weird and weird fast, especially when you saw what the Minnesota Vikings did to the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, it's just Michael Penix was smoother. JJ McCarthy played terrible, and they were able to come away with the win, kicking field goals with the Atlanta Falcons. And the Bears lost that game at home. That loss now ages even worse for the Chicago Bears. Even worse. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be figured out here. I'm not telling you that it 100% doesn't work with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, because like I said, I know I came in harsh for Caleb here, but I don't think it's as bad. Like, I didn't think last week's game was as bad as everyone wants to make it out to be. But at the same time, I'm looking at it through the lens of what Ben Johnson wants. And yeah, man, at this point, Ben Johnson would rather have a Brock Purdy than a Caleb Williams, a Kirk Cousins than a Caleb Williams, you know, a Jaden Daniels than Caleb Williams. He wants someone, he's going to want a more prototypical quarterback who can really work the pocket and not constantly leave, not constantly go off script. He wants someone who's just going to call hike, 1, 2, throw, hike, 1, 2, throw. And we can see that those scripted plays, that's how it unfolds. And we can see that Caleb Williams can do it, but that's when it's on script. That's when those are the plays that everyone knows they're running and they're working on it going into this game. But once they go off script, they can't now play on script in terms of the plays that Ben Johnson is calling. And I don't know what you do about it right now. Starting 0-2, you start to lose any sense of we can be patient here. We can be patient here. Because not sure we've even seen any development from from last year into this year. Now, I said that we're punting last year, but I would still like to see some sort of improvement, and I'm just not quite seeing that. And if I am, it's just the tiniest bit. And here's the reality. Here's the absolute reality. Penix wasn't in a great situation last year with the Atlanta Falcons. He looks more comfortable. He looks like a more comfortable quarterback. Jaden Daniels, we know, looks more comfortable. Bo Nix looks more comfortable. JJ McCarthy, who is not playing good right now at all. He had one quarter that was great, and I'm going to make a video about him not playing well at all and how these are all rookie growing pains, etc., etc., etc. But he does not look comfortable. Or excuse me, he looks comfortable failing right now. Okay? He looks more comfortable failing. He's uncomfortable on the field because he's not seeing it and it's too overwhelming for him, but he's comfortable from like a personal standpoint. Caleb Williams does not look comfortable. He does not look comfortable. And that's concerning. And my guess is at this point, just the personality of Ben Johnson, because I've been coached by people like Ben Johnson. I don't like it personally, honestly. It doesn't bring out the best in me. Having someone as serious and as intense as a Ben Johnson absolutely does not bring out the best in me. I've talked about that before. I'm not going to go on a whole rant about it. My guess is it does not bring out the best in Caleb Williams. It's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. Without trying to use the great coaches of the NFL like the Andy Reids, I feel like at this point Caleb Williams needs a like a Liam Cohen, or of course a Kevin O'Connell, or a Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike Tomlin brings out is going to bring the best out of him, but just that more supportive level of coaching. Mike McDaniel, like one of those types of situations. I'm just not so sure he's going to get that from a Ben Johnson. And I wouldn't be surprised if things get worse with that. That's just my read on it. It's not saying that it's definitely going to happen, but just the way how I'm viewing it, at least right now. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears? What'd you make of that loss? How much do you think is on Caleb Williams? I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, how could we win when the defense can't get, and it's just like, that's just the wrong conversation, and you know it. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.